Hey guys, it's me, cubestore, and today we're going to be taking a gander at the ShengShou 4x4 version 3. I need to give a special thanks to E3CubeStore for providing me with this puzzle to test out, as well as to thank them for the additional lubricant, which I did not expect. The lube will not be reviewed here, but I did use it on some other puzzles, and it is definitely good. It reacts very similarly to Maru lube, but it has a higher viscosity, and the bottle comes full, not half full, like Maru lube. This video will contain a re-unboxing showing you the contents of the box, and then a cursory review. It won't contain a full first impressions portion because those clips are usually pointless in videos, as they do not really give any valuable information. Nevertheless, for those who do depend on those for survival, you will see a short clip of my first impressions. So here is the box. The box is a matte finish, which is my favorite type of packaging because it makes even the shoddiest products look classy. It's covered in Chinese characters all around, which I will not read to you, and on the side you see a diagram of the pieces. Take a close look at the pieces because there you go. Take a close look at the pieces because I will not be going over any of them in detail. But one note is that the core here you see is red, mine is white, and then the core pieces here you see are white, mine are black, just like the rest of the puzzle. Now opening the box, I fail at opening these because the cover always gets stuck, and I don't have a knife, so I guess I'll have to poop the cube out from the bottom. Okay, so the cube I guess would be on the bottom, and then it comes with a pamphlet, which you will probably never even unfold should you get this cube. Regardless, here is the pamphlet that I will let you see very quickly, not in macro, but this is in Chinese, so I don't think most of you would care to read this anyway, but that's what it looks like. I think it comes with the ShengShou 5x5 as well, but yeah, that's the pamphlet. First impressions, it sucked. Now for the fun part, the review. To answer some potential questions, this cube is set on medium tensions, slightly looser than what it came with, and I lubed it with differential oil. I'm not going to be showing you all the individual pieces in this review because I don't think any of you would find that necessarily insightful. You might be interested, but I don't think it's that important. If you have burning desires to see what they look like, you can look in the description for a couple of other reviews that are more objective than this one. This one's going to be more subjective, and it's just not going to cover the pieces as much. So the first notable thing about the cube is that the stickers are abysmal. They're like a crocodile's nipples, if they were to have any. They're bumpy, frayed, dull, and presumably unscented. So even without going into macro, I think it's fairly easy to see that the stickers are not in the best of shape. These bumps here are air bubbles, and then all these edges are frayed as well. It happens to be the worst on the red side. All the others are adequate, but not perfect either. The size is larger than an East Sheen. This is actually a Li Pao, but it's pretty much the same thing. So it's just a smidget bigger than the East Sheen, and it is just a smidget smaller than the Maru. So it's a good size, and the weight is pretty good as well. It feels really sturdy in the hand. The outer layers turn really well. They're fast and smooth, and perform similarly to older 3x3 speed cubes. They have a feel akin to the Haiyan's Haiyan, or Micro Alpha. The corner cutting and locking up is in a delicate balance, I would say. This cube can cut a full cubie on looser tensions. But even if it attempts to cut over that, the layer could misalign and lock up, similar to bigger V-cubes, like the V-Cube 7. If you try to cut more than an entire QB, sometimes this piece will go down, and then you just get a huge lockup. Right now I have the cube on a tighter tension so that it can cut 3/4 of a QB, but it doesn't get those types of lockups, as you can see. It cuts that very easily. The inner layers are equally impressive. The main issue with the Maru, besides the misalignments, was that the middle layers were too stiff. With this cube, this problem is gone. The ShengShou inner layers it's a little bit more sluggish than the outer layers, but that's similar with all big cubes where the inner layers are more stiff. This can be advantageous for cubers who use RU or use the M slices during PLL. So as you can see, it's a lot easier. On an Ishin, if anybody still uses these, it's hard to do because these are so smooth that they can sometimes misalign like this, and then you can't do anything. Corner cutting for this is also about 3/4 of a QB, nearly a whole QB. And then on looser tensions, this is even bigger problem because this center actually goes down all the way, and then you're screwed. Reverse corner cutting, I don't really want to say that this cube has any, because structurally speaking it shouldn't, but if it misaligns like this, it's not going to make a difference. And then here, right, it locks up. So it's not really corner cutting as much as it is the springs just flexing and you're able to work your way around it. So this cube features an anti-popping mechanism, which does the job really well, although it may be overdone and ultimately leads to the shortcomings of the puzzle. The real complaint I have with the ShengShou version 3, besides its less than desirable stickers, is the amount of catching that happens. I find anti-popping to be one of the most questionable cubing fads as of late, and cubes that prevent popping usually do this by having some sort of wings on pieces, such as the Zanchi with the torpedoes. The problem is that pieces pop because there usually is catching that happens, and so when you have wings that prevent the pops, all that's doing is it's enhancing that catching. So it's sort of a trade-off. So to emulate this, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to turn this layer repeatedly until I get a catch, and you'll see what it's like. Oh, it was right there, and there. Okay, so here is the catch that I'm referring to. Now, I never turn this layer during a solve. It's always like the outer layers, but it's the same deal. So if I just turn this to match up, then you really do get what I experienced during a solve. Right now, this cannot move at all. It is stuck, and then you just heard a little crack right there, so now it can move again. But I'll just quickly... Okay, so if you can see this, you'll notice that this piece is almost going in there, right there. This is not what is actually causing the lockup. This is just sort of an accessory to the lockup. What's actually happening during this lockup is a lot of the internal anti-popping stuff is colliding with each other, and it's creating this massive lockup. In detail, it's because there is a peg on for this piece and a wing edge for this piece, and those two are hitting each other, and they can't go past each other. And I will go to macro to give you a closer look. This is exactly what's happening. When you're turning a layer, sometimes the cube, because it has tensions, can sometimes flex like this. Obviously not this severely, at least hopefully not. If so, you should tighten your tensions, but just a little bit like this. And besides that, sometimes if you pull the cube a little bit, you get something like this, like that. And the issue with this mechanism of the peg and this wing edge together is that if you just slightly tilt it, you'll notice that these two pieces are now overlapping each other, which means that you can't turn this layer because this wing gets caught on this peg. So this problem occurs, and it occurs often. One solution is to tighten the cube completely so that the pieces cannot flex. The problem with that is that you sacrifice corner cutting almost completely. And in turn, because you can't cut corners anymore, you essentially get even more lockups. So one of the other solutions is to just cut the peg, right? Because you probably need the wing edges so that these pieces don't fly out. And then these pieces never really fly out anyway, because these two are pretty much structurally the same, and this piece never flies out. So one solution is to just cut the peg. But a YouTube user named DrumGod1997, he said that this was a problem with the first version of the ShengShou 4x4, and this piece would start twisting if you cut the pegs off. So that's not really a viable option either. Therefore, for now, I don't have a solution, but I'm hopeful that there will be one in the future, whether it be a mod that you can do on your own, or if they just create a new version of this cube. Right now, we're just going to take a look at a solve, and then I'll give some final thoughts over it.
So the solve you're seeing right here is a 119.45. This is much higher than what I average. On this cube I average around 107, which is pretty good. It's very similar to the Maru, but I needed a longer solve because I had more to say for this overall part. So overall, I think this cube is my new main, winning over my beloved Maru 4x4. It is also better than the other 4x4s I've tried, including the Rubik's brand, Mini QJ, Lan, Yixin, Li Pao, Mf8, and DaYan Mf8. I've not tried an X cube before, but those cubes have gotten mixed reviews, and most seem to prefer the ShengShou over it. Plus, the ShengShou is significantly cheaper. However, even though this cube is good, it is far from perfect. The catching is more than annoying, and there doesn't seem to be an easy fix. Also keep in mind that this cube is really only good relatively speaking. I'm sure in the coming years, or even months, new 4x4s will arise, which will have superior corner cutting speed and fluidness, but for now, it's a really nice cube. You can pick one up at E3CubeStore for $8.75 in the US, which is one of the lowest prices, and I'd also recommend buying the bottle of E3 Lube to try it for yourself. Links to both products are in the description, and you can also check out some of the other videos if you want to see more about the mechanism of the cube, which I did not cover. So the time is a 119.45. Thank you for watching. Toodles.